Egypt have booked their spot in the round of 16 at the World Cup, but Australia took them all the way to penalties to settle that one. Now they will wait for the winner between Australia and Cabo Verde. Alexis Nunes here.
Argentina and Cabo Verde.
Yes. Oh, that's true as well. Adam Moreno, Don Hutchison here with us. That one went the distance, Ali. Don't think we expected it.
Well, actually, sometime
5 minutes in, you did.
Yeah, about
5
yes.
minutes. Yeah.
You felt like it was going to take something special for one of these teams to score, period. And once Egypt scored, you kind of go, it's going to take something special for Australia to win it. In fact, truth be told, full disclosure, as we're sitting in the green room watching, I was saying,
I don't see Australia scoring.
I don't know how Australia score other than a set piece. And that's a conversation that Don and I were having. And when you know that they did score, kind of, sort of, because it was an own goal by Egypt. And at 1-1, it just never felt like either team proved to be good enough, consistently enough, in front of goal to find something creative, to find a moment of magic. It just wasn't coming. And it wasn't coming from Australia because simply I think they're limited in the attack. And it wasn't coming from Egypt because you weren't getting a whole lot from Marmoush. You weren't getting a whole lot from Mohamed Salah, who stopped running about 25 minutes in. And you're kind of going, this is going to penalties. And it did take a great save from Patrick Beach at the end of the match and the header. And I thought that was a good moment from him in what was an isolated attacking sequence from Egypt. 1-1 was pretty much what we expected it would be all the way to penalties. And then in penalties, I think the talking point, of course, is the decision made from Tony Popovic in changing the goalkeepers. Some of the choices in terms of who was going to take the penalties, you can also put to question, but that's obviously done once the game has finished and we have seen the result and we have sort of that perspective of saying, why are you doing that? Well, we don't know exactly what goes on behind the scenes, but it felt like the decisions are some that perhaps you could question.
Yeah, there were a couple of decisions that we probably would question. And why don't we question them now, Don? Yes. Because it all came in that penalty shootout. Of course, the decision to take off Patrick Beach and bring on Matty Ryan. We know Matty Ryan, of course, has been a stalwart for Australia. So you understand maybe a bit more experience in a penalty shootout. But he also made Harrington, who's only 18 years old, take a penalty. That also will come into question. Which one do you want to attack first?
I've got no problem with the manager changing the goalkeeper. If he feels as though his number 2 is a better penalty stopper than the number 1, then change it. And also, it's a psychological effect that you put on then Egypt. My biggest question would be, why are you asking centre-backs to take your penalties? Souta missed the first one, blazed it over the bar, and then you put your young boy up. And then we all know football. You send your young lad up, you're watching it thinking, please don't miss, please don't miss. So again, it's like a German conversation the other day. Where's the experienced players in this team to put your hand up and say, I'll take one over the youngster. Put me out there. I'll take all the heat. I'll take the responsibility if I miss. But to sit back maybe, or the coach's decision to put 2 centre-backs to take penalties over wide players, midfield players, forwards, I think that's the regret.
Ale, you question those two?
Well, much like Don, I don't question the changing of the goalkeeper, because I'm assuming, and this is a big assumption, I haven't had a conversation with Tony Popovic, nor do I get access to the Australian training sessions and their penalty kick sessions. I'm assuming that he makes this substitution not only for the mental aspect and what is it that you're presenting to Egypt and said, chew on this for a second, we're bringing this guy off the bench, because again, I'm assuming that Matty Ryan is lights out and at penalty kicks. Because that's the only reason you make this change. That he has proven to be the better goalkeeper and penalty kicks during training. And if that's the case, you sort of have to support the decision. Now, of course, he didn't make any saves on the penalty kick shootout, and so it brings everything into question. But here's, in the assumption that I'm making, there's some holes in the reasoning. Matty Ryan is actually shorter than Patrick Beach, which would suggest then that his reach is not nearly as long as Patrick Beach. Patrick Beach has been in the game the whole time, and he is in the flow of the match. But again, I don't question the decision per se, because I have to imagine that this is made with knowledge and understanding that one is better, significantly better than the other in penalty kick and a penalty kick shootout. As for the 18-year-old, that's the one that you kind of go, bruh.
Come on.
Like, for real? Because we're not talking, and to be fair to Harrington, we're not talking about Lamine Yamal, 18-year-old. There are different levels of 18-year-old. Lamine Yamal has been in the big time for 3 years, and somehow he's still 18 years old. But he's been playing games at that level with that sort of pressure, with that sort of expectation for a long, long time. This kid is just coming on the scene now. Just coming on the scene. Now we're getting conversations as to, well, he's being linked with this, or being linked to Barcelona, or linked to that team, or linked to whatever. And he's done great for you.
Yeah.
You don't give him the responsibility. And even if he told you, Coach, I got it. I got this. To Don's point, there's got to be somebody else that said, no, you don't. You come and sit here, buddy.
It's okay.
You've done enough.
Your time will come.
You've done enough. You've done a lot of good for us. You've done great things for us in this tournament. Let us take care of this. Let's not allow this to damage and diminish what has been a good tournament for you.
But where's the forwards and where's the attacking players putting their hand up saying, boss, you're going to go in with 2 defenders?
Yeah.
I'll take one. That's where the responsibility lies, and that's where you've got to have, as an individual, you've got to have good character. You've got to be willing to step up and do the right thing, rather than just sit back and go, no, I'm quite happy that the boss is going to put 2 defenders in, one an 18-year-old, which I think is crazy on the world stage like this in a World Cup. I think it's a crazy decision. I honestly do. I think you're putting too much pressure on him. And as I said before, we watched it and we're sitting there going, please don't miss crossbar. And you just think, come on, guys.
We're watching the penalties, and as Shootout is about to kick the ball. Now, again, we don't have the information in terms of what the penalty kick practice looked like. But in penalty kicks, in general, you want guys that are technically very sound. Now, Shootout is a lot of things. It's a strong defender. Yeah, he wins balls in the air. But it's not necessarily a guy that is technically gifted and sound. And this is when you really need to trust your technique. Because the pressure that we talk about, how does it affect a player, is in the technique with which you shoot the ball. And if you are gifted technically, then you're able to execute far easier or far better than those players that are kind of guessing as to what they're doing when they're taking a penalty kick. At this level, it just felt like some of the choices were made more like with the heart, when you really, I think you have to take a step back if you're a manager and just really, truly trust what you have seen in penalty kick training and what that has looked like, instead of the guy, I got this. Yeah, do you? Because it feels great when you're saying it, but then now you take that long walk and now you're putting that ball down and
suddenly it hits you.
I've not got it.
I've not quite got it.
And there's no backing out. There's no backing out.
All right. Well, as we said, Egypt march on. They now will wait for the winner between Argentina and Cabo Verde. But of course, with all due respect to Cabo Verde, I think we're all going to go with Argentina, which means that we could be getting ready to see Lionel Messi against Mo Salah in the round of 16. Don, just a word on Mo Salah and what we saw from him today. Were you left wanting more?
Of course. But, I mean, the one thing, Alexis, that'll never be beaten is Father Time. It hits everyone, and you can see in his performances over the last 12 months or so, it's hitting Mo Salah. Now, you can rely on him because of the name, you can rely on him because he's still got quality. You've got to have other players that's going to take responsibility and take the ball. So Marmoush needs to do more. Front men need to do more. Mo Salah has still got it in patches. He had an effort on his right foot where he could have done a little bit better. His penalty, actually, he got a little bit lucky. He went down the middle, but he pulled it slightly. He's not a guy that you're ever going to drop. You're going to play him, and you're going to play him, and you're going to play him because you're going to hope that he comes into form, and that's what they're going to need against Argentina.
Yeah, I just, from Mohamed Salah, his performances are lacking a whole lot of life. It's just, there's no explosion. And
is that just down to Father Time, or you want to see a bit more urgency?
It may just be it, but there were sequences in which I was pointing out, and it's like, slow jog. And the ball is coming to his area, and there is no sprint to try to get open or sprint to get him behind. It's just this little slow jog that doesn't get him anywhere. And for me, it's very frustrating. And I have to imagine that it would be frustrating for the players around him, because they know that they depend on him. And the moments that Don is talking about in which he shows something different, you kind of go, yeah. No, that's different. That can make a difference for this team. That is what we need, but we need more of that.
That's what Argentina get with Messi.
Yeah.
But Messi's got other players around him, where Mo Salah's got the responsibility to try and do it all on his own, all himself. It's hard work. You can't do it on your own. Where Messi, when you watch Messi play, he walks around the pitch, but he's effective because he can pick up a positional space where he knows he's got other guys that can utilise space, intelligent, score goals. It's like you're watching a guy that's really struggling, but he needs help.
I understand the point that you're making and the connection about Messi and Argentina, but what is very noticeable is that a guy like Messi knows what positions to take, whereas Mo Salah doesn't even work to get on those positions. It's like, give me the ball to my feet, and I'm just going to cut to the inside. Maybe something will happen. But that's leaning more on your physical ability rather than reading the game. And right now, the game is calling for something different from him. And he hasn't really adjusted to the fact that his game is no longer about speed. Now you have to play make. Now you have to read the spaces, and you have to float around and go find the game. He has the freedom with Egypt to go and find the game wherever it may be. But he's all too comfortable just drifting over to the right-hand side and just kind of drifting out of the game and drifting out of sight and out of mind. And it wasn't until the penalties in which you go, oh, that's a different player. Because while everybody may have been struggling, and certainly from the Australia perspective, this guy comes and gives a little,
casually.
A little dinky-do. I think Mohamed Salah is a historic player for Egypt. But right now, if they're going to beat Argentina, which we assume will advance past Cape Verde, they're going to need whatever the best version of him is. And I don't even know what that looks like anymore.